what audiences want, what the marketplace wants. They want something that's kind of fresh and original and challenging and entertaining. Yorgos certainly did that with The Lobster, so there was great interest in what he would do next.
Okay, I'm gonna explain this very quickly so that I don't hold you up. Yes, it's exactly what you think. Just like you killed a member of my family, now you gotta kill a member of your family to balance things out, understand?
I always enjoy, films that make me uncomfortable and make me work in order to try and figure out things and understand things, and then leave me thinking about them.
The characters, I don't know that anyone does anything in this film the way anyone would. It's very unusual and very particular storytelling.
I can't tell you who to kill, of course, that's for you to decide, but if you don't do it, they will all get sick and die. Bob will die, Kim will die, your wife will die. They will all get sick and die.
It's not, happy, something happens, and then it gets solved, and then happy ending. It's not your typical film.
Do your legs hurt? Do they feel numb? Does your back hurt? Has it started yet?
It's just fantastic that we can sit with a huge screen with thousands of people still and watch a movie like that.
1, paralysis of the limbs. 2, refusal of food to the point of starvation. 3, bleeding from the eyes. 4, death. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry, you won't get sick. You just gotta stay calm, that's all.
To be honest with you, it's dark stuff thematically, so it can get under your skin. It really does. Some of it's kind of... But as a reader of the script, and as an actor in the film, it's very provocative.
Yorgos, the way he kind of conceives projects is that he and Eftimis, with whom he writes, his close collaborator, they come up with an idea. And so the first time I encountered Killing of a Sacred Deer was a kind of, 2-page pitch, a 2-page document that Yorgos gave to me, which was a really clear description of the film that we're now making. I said yes, and we, got on board immediately.
With Eftimis, in this film, we started with the story of this young boy that wants to make right the death of his father. And so he has this weird relationship with this middle-aged doctor who he considers responsible for the death of his father, but within a situation which is quite ambiguous, and you cannot necessarily say what is right, what is just, who's right and who's wrong, who's responsible. You can't have an absolute grasp of the situation.
When I first read the script, I was, blown away by it. It was such a surprising, wonderful, dark, funny, devastating, challenging, and entertaining proposition. It wasn't set anywhere in particular. It was just about a doctor in a kind of wealthy suburb working in a hospital and what happens to him and his family. So it could have been set in the UK or in Ireland or, in Europe or wherever. But we decided to set it in America because it felt that that offered kind of more expansive possibilities, both in terms of the world, but also in terms of the kind of cast we could attract to the project. But also, I suppose, because the idea of a medical surgeon, being a kind of really quite well off is quite an American thing.
How are the kids?
They're doing very well. Bob has started piano lessons. The teacher says he's very talented.
Our daughter started menstruating last week.
Great.
Yes. She was a little scared, but she's okay now. When I read this script, of course, I was blown away by it, and again, I was confounded by it in the same way that I was confounded by The Lobster, and thereby just incredibly interested in being part of it, and I'd love to work with Yorgos again. I think he's brilliant. I really think he's brilliant. He's just got such a unique perspective.
With Colin, I had worked with before, and I knew that he had, great qualities. both as a person and as an actor. Colin has such a complex presence. He can be charming and weak at the same time, and menacing, but still likable.
Open the door, I will smash it down, and I will fuck you and your mother just the way you want it!
He can do bad things, but you find it in yourself to forgive him. And I also think he has a great understanding of our tone.
Nice watch.
Thanks.
What's the water resistance?
200 meters.
And it's got a date display.
Yes, it does.
I might have gone for a metal strap instead of a leather strap.
Really?
Yes. I think I'd prefer a metal strap. It feels like such awkward stuff. You can try and, garner an intellectual understanding of it, or, try and perceive of it in its totality and understand the beats and try and, imagine how it'll all be played. But good luck, it's such unusual stuff. Bob, you promised me you'd get a haircut, and you still haven't done it.
I'll get a haircut.
Tomorrow.
I like his hair long. He has lovely hair.
What about mine?
You have lovely hair too. We all have lovely hair.
With Nicole, I was again very lucky, as I was with Colin. And I was lucky enough that she knew my previous work, and we had met before we had even written this script. And we knew that we wanted to work together at some point. So when this film came along, she read it somehow very quickly after we had finished it, and she just wrote me, I read the script, I want to do it, and I said okay. And that's how it happened.
A year ago, the basis of it for me was what a privilege to be asked to be in his movie. As an actor, you really are only as good as the film makers. I just love being able to support him.
You have beautiful hands. I never noticed before. Everyone's been telling me lately what beautiful hands you have, and now I can see for myself, nice and clean. But so what if they're beautiful, they're lifeless? Sometimes, Stephen, you're just an incompetent man who goes on and on saying stupid things like, let's do a scan, let's do an ultrasound, let's wear brown socks, let's make mashed potatoes, let's go to the beach house.
I've been such a fan of hers and have enjoyed her work for so long. Like from back to Dead Calm with Billy Zane, you know what I mean? That was the first time I think I saw her, and right up into The Hours, of course, and many, To Die For, and so many fantastic films and so many incredible performances and such a variety of roles and characters. So she's been a dream to work with.
Tomorrow I'm gonna bake a lemon cake and nobody's gonna read any of it but you.
Not even the kids?
Not even the kids.
Poor kids. Aren't you going to eat your fries?
I'm saving them till last.
Why?
I really like fries. I always save them for last.
I do that too.
You never know how it's going to turn out when you make a decision to cast an actor in a specific role. Barry, I don't think I've ever seen so many young actors in order to find the actor who was going to portray Martin in the film. We searched in every Anglophone country, all young actors. We saw tapes, we did screen tests. We were looking for someone very special to play the part because it's very complex. It had to be someone that has many different contradicting qualities, and Barry was able to achieve that in the best way possible.
Your son told me that you've got lots of hair under your arms, 3 times more than I do, and that you've got a very hairy back and a very hairy belly.
I probably do have a little more hair than you do because I'm older than you. But soon you'll have more hair too. It's all down to hormones.
Can you show me, please? I was in Greece, where Yorgos is from. And they were like, okay, you're gonna have to cut the holiday short. I was like, okay. Yorgos is the lobster. When I seen that, I was like, okay, I looked him up. I was like, I want to work with this dude. I was like, definitely, yeah. And then I just met Yorgos, and we read through a lot of the scenes. And when I was reading it, I was like, I want to play this.
Me. My favourite thing about it is the genre. It's a thriller, it's dark, and I've never done anything like that before.
I was definitely intimidated. I'm like telling my mom, like, oh, I'm scared. Like the first day, it was pretty scary. Especially with Nicole and Colin. I was pretty nervous because I'm like, oh, I gotta step up my game because they're just amazing.
Oh, Nicole, so cool. She's very easy to chat to, very gentle, which also she creates a nice vibe on set.
She's such a joyful person. Like, she always gives me a hug and she's like, oh, Sonny. So she always puts me in a good mood.
Obviously, you know, it's like, wow, oh my God, I'm actually here with Nicole and Colin. But it's more like being there, being able to watch and see the things that they do is more interesting and taking a lot away from them.
It's funny because, like, Nicole and Colin, they're just like, oh, yeah, and then it just action's like, so they can get in character really easily.
If it is an act and you don't stop this stupid joke right now, your punishment will just be no TV for 2 months. I will take my electric razor and I will shave your head and make you eat your hair. I mean it. I will literally make you eat your hair. I'm not kidding.
Colin he's a legend. He's someone I look up to. Like, he's basically from where I'm from. So I was like, that's so cool. And like seeing him in all them movies, like growing up, I was like, I can do that. I want to do that.
Oh my gosh, he's like such a great actor that he almost is my dad in the movie. So it kind of like puts me as Bob. And so it puts me in such a good character that it's just as easy. I can't get up.
Bob, get up and get dressed. Stop messing around.
Dad, my legs, they're numb. I can't move them. I can't stand up.
One of the most important things about the film is that it takes place in a hospital. And one of the things that we knew early on is that that hospital needed to be a kind of, quite a high-end hospital. So that meant that took us a while to kind of, search right across the entire continent of North America to find somewhere. Kristen Schlottman at the Film Commission introduced us to the Spine and Joint Centre at the Christ Hospital, and they were prepared to accommodate us. It's an absolutely wonderful new hospital. I think it's a couple of years old. And they had a little bit of capacity because we were shooting kind of off-season, wasn't quite their busy period. So they were really magnificent and a big part of the team that got this film made.
Background!
As with all films, the schedule is kind of really murderous and challenging. And, we're trying to do something very ambitious with not a lot of money. And that's always a real stretch. But we found some brilliant people here in Cincinnati. An awful lot of people working on the movie are working on the movie because they want to be on it, because they're interested in what's being done. They know Yorgos's work and they want to be part of it.
Yorgos runs a very easy set, very economical and very incredibly prepared.
He's like Stanley Kubrick. They discuss, you go, well, why this? And they shrug. So I'm used to that. I was already ready. And Colin obviously had worked with him before, so Colin kind of prepped me as well. But he's very calm, he's all internal, but he's decisive and he's strong, quietly strong.
He's, I've been fortunate enough to work with some great directors, but I dare say he is the most meticulous that I've worked with. He really, really is. It's quite extraordinary.
What I try to do while we're filming is just get different nuances of the scene, of the character. Because you never know how it actually is going to fall in place when you're editing the film. So you might need, a slight tweak of certain gesture, of a line, of an action that gives to the character a very different shade.
Good morning, darling. Did your friend Martin come to see you?
I'll leave you alone now so you can spend some time with him too. I offered to help him go to the bathroom, but he didn't want me to. He went to bed. Martin. I didn't want to play him as the typical psycho. you know? And then with Yorgos' style, I was like, okay, how am I gonna play that, you know? Yeah, it's almost like he doesn't want you to act. But then when you say that to him, he's like, no. He's like, I don't want you thinking, you know, I don't want you thinking that either.
How old are you?
16.
Have you got hair under your arms yet?
Yes.
I just got my first period. And I'd watched clips of The Lobster and saw that, you know, everything you know about acting, you just have to forget and deliver the lines, and he can kind of direct you of different things to do. The way that you might say something normally, you know, he takes it all away and just strips everything back and just gets you to deliver the lines, and then he can work with it. Dad, you know who I saw today?
Who, darling?
Martin.
Martin who?
Martin. That boy who came over the other day. The son of your ex-patient. He brought me back from choir practice on his friend's motorcycle. He's really funny. I laughed so hard my ribs hurt.
Yes, he is very funny.
It's a change, definitely, but it's enjoyable, the way that he works, because it's different, which I enjoy. I want to try different things. So.
There's an incredible level of control in Yorgos's craft, which is not to say there's not a fluidity. There's some camera moves in this film that are so fluid and so beautiful, but there's a classicism to them as well. It's about control and containment, and I think it's actually incredibly generous filmmaking, because it really does, through whether it's suppression or containment of the emotions of the characters in the film, however it comes about, I think it allows the audience a greater level of involvement in the story, because as I've been guilty of in the past, and I'm sure I will again, sometimes when you feel so much in film and you're screaming and you're shouting and you think you're doing a great job as an actor, the audience have no room to feel anything. You're feeling it all for them. And so without it being an act of manipulation, I think it does draw the audience in, that they get to fill the colours in, they get to respond according to their own set of principles to what they see in the film. Come on, darling. Eat a donut.
I don't want it, Dad.
You do. But you're afraid your mother and I will tell you off for eating donuts.
My mind won't allow me to go to the places that I've seen Yorgos and Thimios bring into realisation in the telling of the story.
It's okay for him to eat a donut, isn't it, Anna?
Yes, of course.
You heard your mother. Eat it.
To me, it does shine a light in some of the darker areas of human behaviour, of course, where The Lobster set up this kind of socio-political environment. This is very much set in a more recognisable contemporary world, but yet having some kind of element, not satire, but almost an element or a hint of satire, means that, you know, it says to the audience, this is a very special set of circumstances, the like of which you will probably never cross. But all of our truths and our fears are in how these characters respond and the way they behave with each other.
You do realize, Stephen, we're in this situation because of you.
So what do you suggest? Tell me. Oh, wait. I know. I've got it. There is a way we can put a stop to all this. All we need to do is find the tooth of a baby crocodile, the blood of a pigeon, and the pubes of a virgin. And then we just have to burn them all before sunset. Let me see. Do we have any spare teeth lying around? Teeth? Pubes? Nope, nothing here.
From what I've seen from the script, from what I've seen Yorgos do on the floor, I think he's being incredibly ambitious. I think he's developing his visual language. The story is incredibly unusual and original and fresh. And so I'm just really excited to see how audiences view it. I mean, there's a darkness to the story, there's no doubt about that. But I think there's a kind of beauty in how he's making it.
Actually seeing it come to life and seeing some of the frames and some of the camera angles and the choices. I mean, I don't know how. I've known for years, of course, how important a part of the process editing is, but it's all over the place. It seems like there's no rhythm, and of course there is. Of course there's a structure, but it seems like because it's not structured like the majority of films you work on. I mean, I've seen things and just been,
I think it's very hard to know what someone takes away from film. I mean, we all know from talking to each other when we walk out of a movie theatre or when we watch a film together, the kind of multitude of different opinions that people have about what they've just seen and what they take from it. And I think that if you were to ask Yorgos, I don't think you'd get a straight answer to that question.
You'll know what it's like to die. What it's like when your head cracks open and your brains blow out.
Don't shoot him.
And then
Shut up!
shoot me. Then what? Answer.
I'll bury you in the yard.
My husband described it as, he said it is so torturous at times, but he said it's also like watching great jazz. It exists in this other place where you have to sort of decipher it and go through it, he said, and it sort of takes you on this journey he said he'd never been on.
Where is she? What did you do to her?
Yorgos's journey as an artist, which I will never understand in its completeness, of course, but I know that it keeps him up at night. I know he is incredibly concerned about what he does. It's very important to him, and he puts a lot of energy and a lot of thought and a lot of himself into it. And so you are involved in the pursuit of something. And to be aligned with someone like Yorgos, who is so dogmatically pursuing a moment's truth, even if it is unconventionally appearing truth, is amazing.
The boy's very good at math and physics. Kim, on the other hand, apart from her natural aptitude for music, is very good at literature and history, areas in which Bob lags behind.
Do you especially like one of them more than the other? If you had to choose between them, which would you say is the best?
In general, I try to not, I mean, I don't read too many reviews, and I don't think it's very helpful to me to really, look in too much into what people say and to how people perceive the film I made. When I finish a film, I want to feel that I've done the best that I could, and then, I just let it go and let it go out into the world and hope that it, some people connect to it, and that's great. It's going to put you in an uncomfortable position because the themes and the situation in the film are quite impossible, and it deals with elemental things. So I just hope that that kind of process, in a way, in the end, is enjoyable as well.